Okay. So, all right. So now it's recording. Good deal. Thanks again for doing an interview with me today.
Thanks for having me.
You betcha. My pleasure. So today is, unfortunately, the most ironic day ever to interview a member of Sabaton. Without taking up all of our interview time with this one question, what are your feelings regarding the Russian invasion of Ukraine? Where do you see this going, and what does it mean for Europe and the world?
Well, first off, I've been stuck in my studio the whole day, so I'm badly updated at the moment of the situation. And to be frank, I don't know actually. I think it's war in any sense is absolute horror for everyone involved. And with that being said, I think people that are better at this than a drummer should talk about it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, speaking of drums, let's get right into what are the hazards and the funs and the thrills and the cautions you have by playing drums on a riser that serves as a giant tank with a turret and everything?
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Well, it's pretty safe to be up there. It's very well secured. It's built to do just that. So I wouldn't say there are too many hazards. Though we've had a few close ones with pyrotechnics, for sure. I had but I was never really in much trouble there. I mean, Joachim would shoot me with this fake theater bazooka every night of the European tour in the ending of Night Witches. But hey, I got used to it. It was shaky there for a few seconds.
So I'm curious how much warring goes on amongst the band. Like if the guitar players fight over who gets to play the cool riffs. Like Valley of Shadows, for instance, has a couple leads that kind of butt right up against each other. And I'm wondering just what kind of rivalry takes place and choosing who gets to play which riff.
That's a good question. I leave all that kind of guitar bullshit to the guitar players, and I'm so happy that I am solo playing my instrument. But what I can tell you is that there's a very healthy amount of competitiveness in this band, and it's always been great. And I think in the end it kind of pushes everybody to get the best out of everyone.
That's a good chemistry to have, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially me and Chris can really go at each other, because I'm also a solo guy. I love solos, so maybe I have a lot of opinions about it sometimes. But whatever works for the song and actually makes the song better, that's what we go for in the end.
Good deal. So John Lord and Deep Purple proved long ago that keyboards in a hard rock or metal band need not be totally lame. How do you guys determine which keyboard sounds to use, and how do you do so well at avoiding lame keyboards?
I agree totally with how you started this question, by the way. That's a good question. I mean, Joachim, he is a piano player from the beginning, so he's a very talented piano player. And then he's also very much into Hammonds and that kind of keyboards, So yeah, I mean, the same goes there. If it's a good fit for the song, and we think we should have a Hammond on there, we'll have the Hammond on there. And we had Hammond also on, what's that song? Blood of Bannockburn on The Last Stand a couple of years ago, where we had at the time our a guy from the team there who's not in the band, and he brought his Hammond there with the speaker and everything. And then we were setting up and miking it, and all of a sudden we're in the kitchen, the room next to it, having a coffee, or fika as we say in Sweden. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, like, what is that smell? Like something smells really burnt. So the freaking thing caught fire. So we had to run in there and, put out the fire so we could. And then turns out we had to fix it. what's the name of the speaker? It's I got blank now.
JBL.
No, the spinning thing for the Hammond.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
No. I don't know.
No. Anyway, so then it turns out in Sweden there's like 2 people who can fix those things. So we had to get a van and then drive it up north to this guy and then get it back so we could do the song. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about an ordeal.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm curious how you guys. I want to pay you a compliment too. You guys do such a good job at composing your lyrics and telling stories. Like for instance, the song Dreadnought. I found myself emotionally feeling intimidated, imagining those dreadnoughts, surging toward me. How do you think you achieve that?
Oh, yeah, I'm happy that it worked though, then it's really a good compliment and thank you for that. I mean, that's always tricky to make the story. I mean, the songs kind of, at least as good as we can, try to make the story justice, right? If you decide on a story or a topic, we do it as good as we possibly can, and especially a song like that where it's a moody song. It's a very different song from what we usually do. Also adding some waves in the beginning of that song. And yeah, cool odd measures in the verse playing wise. And I think Joachim really, went out of his comfort zone with the vocals on that one too.
Awesome. So what got you, and if you want to comment for any of the other guys in the band, what got you into military history?
Well, to be honest with you, when I joined the band, I wasn't too much of a history buff myself. And I always found history to be very important, but I would not necessarily dig much deeper into it. But then coming into a band like this, where there's a genuine passion for it, there's a genuine interest that's been there for so many years, it kind of rubs off, and then you start digging into songs and stories about and then you start thinking to yourself, why some of these songs, or a lot of them actually, haven't I seen a movie about this? Because this is so much more interesting and so much better in story-wise, that is, and it actually happened for real. So yeah, from there on, I got way more interested in it, for sure.
Good deal. When did you know that the band had really locked into something? When did you decide, okay, we're gonna kind of center our band around this theme? How did that evolve?
This was before I joined, but I think it's back to the genuine interest in something. And I think when you do have that, it will turn out better, And I think from what I've heard them say, there was enough bands singing about dragons and swords and what other important things to sing about. So maybe we should sing about this because it actually matters. And if you think about it, like we talked about in the beginning of this conversation, war is horrible, no doubt, like proven fact, right? It was back then and it is now. But there are also a lot of emotions connected to it. There's anger, hope, and so forth. And for a music point of view on it, that kind of fits very well for storytelling.
Good point. What do you think of Jesus Christ?
Jesus Christ? Is there a band called Jesus Christ, or you mean the man Jesus Christ?
The man.
Oh, well, that's not a discussion we should get into, I guess. I'm not religious, and no, I'm not. Sorry.
No worries. I got one more question along those lines.
Yep.
What do you think about his quote, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me," end quote?
Can you say that again?
So Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me," end quote.
I don't know. I've never heard it before.
It's an interesting quote. I've heard, I guess C.S. Lewis, the guy who wrote The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, said he's either telling the truth and he's Lord, or he's telling a lie and he's a liar and he's not a good teacher, or he's a lunatic. He's mentally unhealthy and thinks he's the Messiah.
Yeah.
So now that you're known, and Sabaton has a reputation of being great storytellers, I bet people with amazing stories come to you. I bet you attract storytellers now. What are some stories or experiences you've had with people coming to you with amazing stories to tell?
We had a lot, actually a surprising amount of the songs that ends up on our albums are sent in to us by fans. And which is, I think, a great relationship between band and fans, where naturally we can't know everything. We are musicians first and foremost, and then there's a genuine interest, and we try to get it as right as we can. But I'm Swedish. I grew up in Sweden. I'll naturally hear a lot of history about my own country, and then a little bit about that, a little bit about that, and that, and that. But then if you're from Serbia, you'll only hear bits and pieces of Swedish history, but you will naturally know a lot more about your own history. And therefore, sharing like that has been something that's been developed like that over the years with our fans. So yeah, like I said, a lot of stories end up being songs that we just find very interesting or that we didn't know about before.
I bet that's really cool. I know she got some tattoos. Do you have any stories or themes on your body art that you'd like to talk about?
This?
Yeah. Any tattoos that you particularly like that you've gotten and what it means to you, or?
Oh, yeah. Where do we start? I mean, there's a friend of mine called Marcus, and did my, like, the big ones, both of my sleeves and my back as well. Let's Live Galleries is the name of the tattoo shop, and I think he's a fantastic artist.
It is good work.
And this is like a total Turtles themed arm. It's hard to show it here, but so basically, I want him, when I do this, I want him to get in the vibe, and I want him as an artist to get excited about something. So that's important for me, because I would feel the same if he would ask me to play on his song,
Yeah.
But yeah, and these are on the left arm. It's all old skateboard decks, motives from decks I had growing up, Creature decks and Santa Cruz decks. So that's kind of just like the kind of artwork I was always into, and being an old skateboarder for many years.
Me too. I can relate to that. I grew up in Southern California in the late '70s, which was like a great era to be there.
Yeah, totally. And that's where it all started.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a few, on the road kind of stuff here and there. Got my wife and my daughter here.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, a few memories that I picked up along the way.
Very cool. So if you had to go back and live in the period of between 1914, 1917, or that decade, let's say, what technology do you think you would miss the most?
From now?
Like if you went back into that time and, couldn't bring anything with you, you just had to live in that time period. Technology-wise, what do you think you would miss the most?
Okay, so this is not like something I can bring, but what I would miss the most. Yeah, what I would miss the most. Maybe my phone, so I can FaceTime Back to the Future to talk to my family.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, I don't know. A good coffee maker? Like, I'm a total coffee addict, so I would miss that. But maybe I bring a coffee maker, and then I found out that the coffee was better back then.
Who knows? It's funny. I wrote a novel about time travel and high school football. One of the things I keyed in on was how much the coffee sucked in 1980. You know, you get like truck stop variety creamer, and it was just awful.
Yeah.
At least in most parts of the world. I mean, you can go to Italy, I'm sure, and get a great cappuccino, no matter what year it was. But
no, most likely, indeed. It depends on where you were. Yeah, indeed. But truthfully, I wouldn't want to live in that time age time of age at all, especially in those years of the war, because yeah, that was one hell of a horrible piece of history that we have on this planet.
Yeah. I was going to follow up on that and say, what piece of knowledge or information would you miss the most?
Well, I didn't get that really. That
If you had to go back in time to that decade, but you couldn't bring your knowledge with you, you just knew what you would have known then if you lived then. Looking back on it, what knowledge would you miss them? What would be hardest to live without knowing?
Oh, I think there was a lot of superstitiousness, if that's a word. I don't know. And the access to information in general. I mean, say what you will, but it is the information age. And I thought about it literally a few hours ago when I was putting my daughter to bed, when she asked me to sing her a new lullaby. Curveball, man. And I've outrun my set list of lullabies. So I Googled lullaby, boom, the text, and then I started to sing it. So yeah, I guess I would miss that. And I guess I would have been just learning a lot more lullabies by heart.
Yeah, you probably have to rely a lot more on yourself. It's just like camping, I guess. You only have what's around you, and you can only, what you memorize is.
Yeah, indeed.
Goes on. What was I don't want to speak too early, but hopefully COVID-19 will be a distant memory. But what has the pandemic been like for you guys as a band and as a musician?
It's been a big change for us, obviously. I mean, we were cut short on a tour that we did early 2020, and I didn't really expect it to last this long. I guess no one did, for that matter. But so then coming home, and all of a sudden you're home. You're supposed to be out a couple of more weeks, so you're home early. And I found the virus being that early in the pandemic quite scary, to be honest, because nobody knew what it was and how it worked, etc. But as time passed, we decided that let's look at the things we can do instead of the things we cannot do. What are our options here, you know? And with that being said, I think we've stayed very active in this whole 2 years, as active as we could, considering the situation then. So looking, and then also, you know, getting all this time with my family, that's I wouldn't have had. So to every disadvantage, there's for sure an advantage if you're open enough to see it. And also, with that being said, I'm so tired of the pandemic, so let's be done with that now.
Yeah.
As in the sense of living in it, not talking about it, obviously.
Speaking of family, what are some of the parallels in your mind of being in the military and having to go off to war, and being in a band and having to go off on tour, and what that means for you as a person?
Well, the big difference is that we don't risk our lives going on tour, and so I wouldn't say that there's any, you know, we do entertainment, and they fight for a country or protect, you know, but Yeah, being away for long periods of time, for sure, I guess is a parallel that is the same. Absolutely. Um, yeah, yeah.
How have you dealt with that?
Oh, I mean, touring these days, it's speaking of technology, it's FaceTime. That's a great thing, you know. We can bring family in and stuff like that. So we manage quite well. And my wife is also a touring musician, so we knew what we were getting ourselves into going into this.
Cool. What does she do, by the way?
She's a singer of a Finnish band called Nightwish.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So, what are some of the rewards been for you of being a working musician?
Oh man, so much. Yeah, where to begin? I mean, first of all, the first thing that comes to mind is touring with the bands that you grew up learning how to play and listening to. You know, your childhood heroes. That's great. You know, and I'm super fortunate to be able to do that. And we've done it several times, and seeing all these bands. That's one for sure. Meeting people, traveling, seeing different cultures, eating different food, and to be able to do what I love and make a living out of it and stay healthy enough to so I hope I can continue doing it.
Yeah, here's to you. Good deal. What are some of the challenges you face in playing to big crowds? You know, being seen and noticed in something that's different than playing small clubs, for instance.
I like both though. I really do. We're going out on a 30-date Swedish tour in the beginning of April. So I'm super stoked about that, especially after 2 years of not being able to do it. But yeah, the challenges, it's different challenges that comes with different types of shows. You know, putting together an arena tour, that's a big challenge. You know, with just practically doing it and being a lot of people on the tour. Making sure that you stay focused on making sure that the show is as good as it can be, and we put a lot of effort into that. That's a good challenge, and also a challenge that I really enjoy. Yeah, making sure the set list is what it should be, that people get what they want and what they pay for. A great challenge, which I really like and enjoy doing as well. So there are a lot of challenges. Staying healthy, staying in shape on tour, you know, making sure you work out and don't eat too bad.
Yeah, I'm sure that can be a challenge.
Yeah, it's good I'm a drummer, so I can sweat it off.
Oh yeah. Speaking of drumming, as I'm wondering how much of what you do becomes second nature. Like, you know, for instance, are you always counting in your head, or is some of the things in keeping rhythm and keeping a meter just ingrained and so well practiced that it's like you're a machine, or it's just second nature? How do you perform mentally? What are you doing inside your head?
It's like a phase, that thing, like different phases. When you go out on tour, if you just started it, you tend to think a lot. I wouldn't count in my head. I don't do that, but I would be more aware of what I'm playing and what parts comes next. And then when you've done that for a while, you go into the sweet spot in the middle where you don't think about it, but you're still very focused on it. You know, everything goes pretty much automatically, but you're still there mentally. And then if you've been out on the road for too long, you then enter phase number 3, which is when you're playing, you find yourself thinking about what dog food I'm going to buy. And then you're like, oh, okay, here I am playing a show, you know. and then you really gotta get your focus back to that, But yeah, so sweet spot in the middle, and then when you're out for too long, so then that's why it's good to keep tours for a couple of weeks, and then you have a little break.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for that insight. So I know I was a little bit surprised when I found out that following up the Great War was going to be another album, The War to End All Wars, about World War I. What does the future look for you? What kind of stories or battles or what eras do you think you're going to go to next?
Oh, I guess unfortunately, we will never run out of songs. If the world would be slightly better, we would run out of songs, but we won't. Considering that, I think there are a lot of topics that are in the pipeline and that we want to do. What is important for us is that it is history, that it has happened and that it's ended, and it's very clear on what exactly happened. So we do not take any sides. We write the history and that's it. But at the moment, now the War to End All Wars is just coming out next week, and we're totally focused on that. And then we'll pick it back up when time comes for the next one.
Cool. Well, we're out of time, unfortunately. I would like to ask one more question.
Go ahead, please.
What advice would you give to a 17-year-old high schooler?
Just any high schooler.
Yeah, the teenager that lives here.
Yeah, be kind, work hard, and have fun. Yeah,
Good
that
deal.
would be it.
Well, Hans, thanks a lot for your time today. And congratulations
it.
on your band. It's just exciting to see you guys doing so well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Bet.
Hope to see you.
Likewise.
Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.